smoke if you're watching this.
Yeah,
Stop
don't
now.
smoke.
Come and see Chantell on how to stop if you can't, all right? Welcome to A Cup of Tea with Bree, where I get to know some of North Queensland's most amazing parents, incredible business people and inspiring characters. Now, today's guest is the owner of Zest for Life Solutions. She is a mindset reset coach and therapist, master hypnotherapist and strategic psychotherapist. So please welcome Chantell Buggins. How are you?
Hey Bree, great to be here, thank you.
So good to have a cup of tea with you today. Can you tell me about your childhood? Let's start at the beginning. Tell me about your childhood, siblings, etc.
Yeah, I grew up on the Central Coast right near the beach, and we had a fabulous childhood. We would come home from school and go straight to the beach each afternoon. It was my brother and I at that point, and when we were about 12 we moved out to the country area, so then we got the motorbikes happening and we both had bikes. Not long after that, my sister, my 15 years younger than I, sister came along.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she lives in the UK now, so I don't see her as much as I'd like to, but you know, we keep in touch. And you know, life was pretty good. Like when we started doing some stunt work, my brother started doing stunt work with motorbikes. We had a citrus farm as children, and my dad ended up taking all the citrus out and putting a speedway track down the back. That was the kind of family we had, all motorbikes. And then my brother started jumping cars, and it just kind of went from there, Bree.
Oh, wow.
So childhood got a little bit hectic after that.
I bet.
Yeah.
What an interesting childhood. Did you do any jumping of cars?
I didn't do jumping, but I did do a thing on a wire with a motorbike on a wire, and there was a cage below, so it was a high wire act with various stunts and things that we did together as a team.
That's incredible.
It was an incredible start to life. It looked like it was going to be quite big, and we were international, so we went overseas and we worked in America, Canada, Indonesia, New Zealand, and all around Australia. So we did a lot of ground in a short period of time, but you may be familiar with what happened thereafter after that.
Yeah, it's a sad time for your family.
A very sad time.
Yeah.
A lot of trauma, you know, throughout the family from when someone takes their life. It causes, I can't even begin to explain to you, Bree, how far-reaching it goes into the family and the mental health of the family.
Yeah.
Breaks families apart. You know, the trauma is intense.
Yeah. And your brother was very special to you and obviously had such a bright future.
I've got goosebumps, so maybe he's here with us today.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was very special. I was the wild child and he was the quieter one of the two of us, so it was always me getting into trouble and him behaving himself. Apparently.
So what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a hairdresser.
Okay.
I wanted to be a hairdresser, right or wrong, and my father said, no child of mine's going to be a hairdresser, you're destined for bigger things than that. So in school we had the ability to go and do, you know, trials. So I actually did go and do 2 weeks at a hairdresser and I loved it. But life took that different course with the stunt work and travelling around the world. So I kind of left school very early. My education on paper doesn't look so great from my childhood years, but life is an experience. So I learned a lot about life and living.
I bet you did.
Yeah, through living those moments.
You've certainly changed that into your adulthood. You've got lots and lots of training under your belt these days and lots of education.
Yeah, just had to move through that. I wasn't good enough and I didn't feel like I was intelligent. So it took a while to clear that, and once I cleared that, no stopping.
I love it.
Yeah.
So what got you into this industry then that you're in now? Because it's quite fascinating, and obviously working with people to help clear, you know, their traumas and their, you know, with the hypnotherapy, their fears and anxieties.
It was exactly those things that got me into it. My own childhood trauma. There was trauma in our young years in the household, and then my brother's suicide. I found my brother, and so I had PTSD around that for quite a number of years. I then took myself on the alcohol and smoking journey. I was a functional alcoholic, and it wasn't until I started to realise that I actually was an alcoholic, which is a very difficult thing to come to the self-realisation of. So I stopped the smoking first, and then some years later I stopped drinking as well, and both of those were done through hypnotherapy. I've used hypnotherapy in my 20s as well for some mental health and other addiction, not major drug addictions, but just other addictive behaviours, which weren't serving me. So it was kind of always there for me in the background. I'd done the psychiatrist and I'd done other healing modalities, but I never felt at ease in those environments.
Yes.
They didn't sit with me, whereas hypnosis just really just cracked it open for me, and it let go of lots of things for me.
That's so good.
So from those experiences, I've now brought those experiences into my practice, and I hear all kinds of stories similar to mine, and some, far deeper than mine. And you can really connect with your clients having been through the journey as well. So yeah, it was almost like it was destined through the trauma of my life that was my destiny.
Yeah.
I feel like that was my destiny to become a therapist.
Yeah, and to help others. That's so beautiful. So if you could have dinner with 3 people, whether past or present, who would they be and why?
Present would be Sir David Attenborough. His works throughout that entire lifetime, the dedication that he's put towards the earth and the nature and the animals. Definitely would love to sit with him and have a bit of a chat around all the places he's been and his greatest achievement in his mind. The other person would be Michael Hutchence. I remember at 16 being illegal in a pub, and they were playing in a very small pub in Port Macquarie.
Wow.
And yeah, so they just put their first album out, and my cousin and I, she was 15, and we were probably inebriated, and we're on the table, like we're rocking, and he was right there, and at that moment I fell in love with the greasy haired, pimple faced Michael Hutchence. And to this day, whenever I hear his music, it just lights me up. Yeah. The other person would be, of course, my brother. I would have, to sit with him and work through what we know now, Bree, about mental health. And to just be there and hold him through that day when he took his life, so prior to him passing. That would be something.
And best piece of advice you've ever been given?
When Dale was alive, we did some amazing shows in America, and we did a high wire act in Caesar Palace's car park. They cleared all the car park out. We did a high wire act over the car park. And then we went on to the Johnny Carson show. And Yul Brynner was one of the headliners at the time from The King and I. And we came out, all the green rooms were in the background of Johnny Carson, and we were coming out, and Yul Brynner was coming through. And he said, "Kids, whatever you do, don't smoke." And I was smoking at that young age. And it stuck with me I didn't take the advice immediately, but every time I work with a smoker, when I stopped smoking, Yul Brynner, comes to mind. Whatever you do, kid, don't smoke.
Yep.
So it was the best advice, even though I didn't take it in that moment. I've got lots of advice over life where I didn't take it in the moment, but when I did take it, I was really grateful for those words that have brought me to that moment.
Yeah. It's so detrimental to your health.
Yeah.
Well,
Yul Brynner died of lung cancer.
Yeah, wow.
In the end. So, in 1985, I think it was.
So don't smoke if you're watching this.
Yeah,
Stop
don't
now.
smoke.
Come and see Chantell on how to stop if you can't, all right? Well, thank you so much for sharing your beautiful story today, and for all of the amazing healing that you're bringing to humans everywhere. So thank you so much for sharing your beautiful story and for being here today. It was so nice to get to know you a little bit better.
Thank you so much for inviting me along. I've really enjoyed it, Bree. Thank you so much.
It's been great. We'll have to have more tea.
Yeah, more tea.
Make sure, if you'd like to see more of our episodes, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell so you never miss out on a new episode of A Cup of Tea with Bree. See you next time.